everyone, and welcome to the Parramatta Stadium for this first semi-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup of 1990 between St Gregory's of Campbelltown and Hawker College. And Bill Anderson, one of the favourites, I should say the favourites of the competition, and one of the most famous teams, St Greg's.
They certainly are. They've been in the final, in fact, on 6 occasions, Graham. Won it 5 times. A very good football team, and they've backed up with another good top 13 this year. They'll be hard to beat.
What do we know about Hawker?
Well, Hawker's from the ACT. They've had to win some 7 games to get this far, and they've done that with style, but they've done it in very high-scoring matches. My only concern is their defence. I think they've got to work on that defensive line to have any chance here this afternoon.
Well, joining us sideline as our special guest commentator is a man who was the player of the series in the Commonwealth Bank Cup last year, Jason Taylor. This is your old school too, St Greg's.
Yes, they're a good side this year, as good as the side last year, so they should have a big chance.
Who are the key players in this one for them?
The 5'8" Gavin Bell's a good player, and the second row, Paul Quinn. He made the Australian schoolboys team, but they're a very strong defensive side.
And you'll stay unbiased on the sideline?
Yeah, I will.
Look forward to your comments. All right, well, both these teams, only one will stay alive after this match, make their way into the cup final where there are many riches awaiting the most successful team.
The Commonwealth Bank Cup Player of the Series will have his choice of $1,000 worth of fabulous Adidas product that Bill Anderson and Brett Kenny can vouch for. Adidas' new range of torsion footwear, featuring the exclusive torsion bar on the sole to produce a more technologically advanced shoe than ever before, as well as the rest of their extensive range, makes Adidas the #1 choice for amateur and professional alike. As well, our winning school and runner-up in this year's Cup final will be given a selection of items from the fabulous range of NEC products. Whether it's videos, televisions, microwave ovens or stereos, NEC have always been on the cutting edge of technology for all your home entertainment.
Yes, our thanks to NEC and Adidas. And the Parramatta Stadium is venue for this first semi-final between St Greg's, Campbelltown and Hawker College from the ACT. St Greg's pretty firm favourites for this. Referee is Leon Edney, who gets us underway. Fine afternoon in Sydney. Perfect for football. St Greg's trying to work it out of their 22. They managed to only get a metre out. They'll look to kick on early tackles. Hawker trying to put them under a little bit of pressure.
I think the Hawker defensive line has looked good there. It's vital now that they don't give away a penalty for being caught inside the 5. St Greg's worked that out very safely. They just kept going from dummy half. There's good pressure on the kicker. I don't know that Hawker could have got a better start than that.
Well, the referee has got St Greg's for being in front of the kickers, or in front of the kicker, but I think the kicker was, in fact, one of the chasers himself. Kane Cross was the player who put the kick down, and I'm pretty sure that you'll see he starts off after his kick here. But did he arrive in time? Well, that's him after the football there. But he was...
Owen Gregory, the halfback for Hawker College, got hurt in that melee following the kick. He charged the kicker down. He's still down in back play waiting for some strapping, Graham, but they could ill afford to lose him. He does do a lot of the organising around the rucks for them. He's a clever young player who's played in the Australian Schoolboys Touch Rugby League team.
Now Hawker. Originally, the knock on against. Scrum will go down inside the quarter. Greg's with the feed. Cross. About 32 out from their own line. Good strong run from Quinn.
You can see here how St Greg's play a very safe brand of football. They simply work from dummy half. They take it up one out. They don't play any football in their own half of the field. When they're trying to get it out on the last or second last tackle, they do exactly that. They get a good kick and chase, but they'll play some neat backline movements when they get down in the opposition half.
Well, that ball nearly made a fool out of Tom Barley, but he did well in the end too. Well, now they get the penalty because the ball was stolen from him.
Yeah, there's the kick over the top. It did a bit of a dipsy doodle there, and a good chase by St Greg's to put pressure on, and almost came up with it. Dipsy doodle, you like that one, Graham?
St Greg's now. Chance to flex their muscles in defence. McGovern, the skipper from Hawker, brought down just short of the halfway line. The ball looked a little forward to Adam Harley from Owen Gregory. Gregory again. Little chip. Oh, well, that was unfortunate for Rodney Hayes because he had regathered the ball, then he had it knocked out by one of his own teammates. Horan plays it back. Cross. Cross again. Go confidently through their back line. They'll try and swing it back again. This is on the last tackle. Interesting to see if they kick here. They are going to kick in just behind the defence. Ball's travelling clear and scooped up by Causa. And he brings it back short of the 22. But that was our first real good look at St Greg's putting pressure on with a little chip in behind the defence. It was bouncing around and I think knocked back to Causa by Tom Barley.
It was a good variation, wasn't it? It looked as if they were going to kick the ball towards the goal post, and then the kicker simply put it off the outside of his foot, put it back towards the corner post with a good chase in that area.
And all the good's been undone with this penalty. It's quite a breezy afternoon here at the Parramatta Stadium. And Jason, I think that breeze is, well, a little behind St Greg's, is it?
No, it's going the other way, Graham. It's behind Hawker.
Oh, so Hawker have got the breeze.
Jason, Bill Anderson here, mate. Pretty confident start by St Greg's. They play a safe brand of football, don't they?
Yeah, it's very strong defence so far. Hawker have only haven't been able to play out a solid set of 6 yet because of the strong defence from St Greg's.
McGovern looking for touch and gets the fine bounce too. So he takes the shortcut to the sideline for the scrum.
There's the kick in behind the defensive line. A well-placed kick. The winger probably was entitled to give it a bit better chase than that, but it was always going to find the sideline and force the scrum.
Now I can't understand what he's really got Bernie O'Brien for there.
I think it might have been a forward breaking off the scrum before the ball was actually out, Graham, that it was still in the confines of the scrum, and then the forward broke, and when it came out he picked the ball up rather than keep tight until it was clear.
Well, I must admit though, being a lock forward, I thought he was entitled to once that ball came back to him. Again, Hawker don't see out 6. Scrum collapses, and I think Hawker on the bottom of that. Lucky not to have a penalty go against them. Cross. Tries to steal it a little on the blind side. Those wingers getting involved in the middle of the paddock. And Giga gets it about 32 out from his own line. Quinn, who I think is a Australian schoolboy rep.
Yes, 1990 Australian schoolboy Quinn, as is the centre Tim Horan, who's also a very talented player. They've been a fine nursery, St Greg's, for players that have come through. You've had Mike Potter, the present fullback for St George. You've also had Ivan Henjack and Jason Taylor. So they've produced a good crop of players over the years.
Now, that's great chasing. Great chasing to trap Causa inside his own in goal. This might be the pressure that tells now for St Greg's. They'll get possession back from the line dropout.
So this is the way they play their football. They just eventually wear you down. They keep playing out sets of 6. They put the ball downfield with a good chase, and then they get you caught in goal with one that you can't quite get out, and then they really turn the screws on you.
Quinn again. Right in midfield. Solid shoulder charge.
Yeah, note how quick they're playing the ball too quick, Graham. As soon as they get tackled, they're bouncing to their feet, getting the ball back in action, making it tough for the defensive line to get back 5 metres.
Now this back line. Back it comes for Bell. He jinks and turns out of a couple of tackles. Chapman steps. Just a metre away, St Greg's looking for the first try of this semi-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup. Cross, trying to get it into the in goal. It'll be a handover. Reluctantly, he gives it away. Oh, they've lost it again.
Yeah, this is what you can't afford to do against St Greg's. You see how they applied pressure immediately in defence. Now they've got the ball back. I don't think Hawker can withstand another 6 here.
The try must surely come. Hogan. 6 metres out, he'll play it.
Hawker had their chance to resist them and they couldn't do it. This is just concerted pressure that's going to cause this first try.
Great test for Hawker. Cross. Big numbers here. Bell couldn't unload. They had men left over. But to their credit, Hawker have got them 10 metres back now. And they've forced them right to the last tackle. Off the hand of McGovern. So they'll have to withstand even more pressure. Scrum will go down right in front of the posts. And this is a terrific area to attack from. Cross goes to his 5'8". Bell coming back infield. Stepping beautifully. Back away from where the scrum was.
Yeah, very experienced player, Bell. You might remember he was the halfback in last year's side, and you know, he was a good footballer then, and even better this year.
O'Brien 5 metres away. Straight up the middle, Quinn. The defence read it well. Cross. Charging onto it is Chapman. Still going, Chapman. He wasn't tackled. Now he is.
Skinny out wide.
Can they hold out again? Maybe not. Hickey brought down on the last tackle. Now that kick was charged out, but St Greg's haven't regathered. Terrific passage of play for Hawker.
Yes, it certainly was, Graham. They defended stoutly. Now what they've got to do is make sure they can play an effective 6. What often happens is because you're so tired from defending, you get the ball back and then you can't do anything with it. You either make a mistake, or if you don't make a mistake, you find you haven't got any metres and therefore you can't get a good kick.
Well, here
There's
it is.
The mistake.
Cross will dive over in the corner, so they are going to pay the penalty with not controlling this football for the full set of 6 tackles inside their own 22. It was being brought away in a fairly strong run by McGovern. The skipper was trying to finally break clear of their own danger area. He had it stolen, in fact, by Cross, who's been heavily involved, and he just showed the ball. The cover defence couldn't come across to him, and he showed plenty of pace and strength to get over in the corner.
I suppose this try really was just a matter of time and came a little bit later than most of us anticipated. Now, everything was going well for Hawker. They had their defence in shape. They had got the ball out to about the quarter line, but then they made that fatal mistake we were talking about, and St Gregory's punish you dearly when you make mistakes like that.
Kane Cross grabs the first try of this semi-final.
And what Hawker have to do now is, from this kick-off, they need to play another good set of 6. If their confidence is down and they think they're out of this game, what will happen is St Gregory's will break them in this opening set of 6 tackles after that try and get them back in their own quarter immediately. Let's see what happens.
Damien Chapman. Just a couple of metres in from touch. Kicking into this breeze, never met the ball at all. So it's just the one try in it, the semi-final of 1990. St Greg's 4, Hawker yet to score. Peter Mulholland, alongside him, Ivan Henjak.
Former teacher and pupil, and now the best of mates.
Terrific start now for St Greg's.
That chase wasn't as good as it might have been from the kick-off. They got the ball out over the quarter line. But the thing about St Greg's, Graham, is they won't break the pattern of what they've been doing. They are very methodical. They'll still keep working from dummy half, kick and chase. Only when they've got Hawker back in their own quarter again will they play some football, unless they really think that they've got them on wood.
It was a very solid hit on Hogan by Corvo. Cross away from Causa.
There it is, simple pattern, but oh so effective. Have a look at this chase. Good break there by Causa.
Farley, it is in fact the winger Bell that has brought it back. And there's been quite a determination in this Hawker side, Jason. That defence before, for about, what, 3 or 4 sets of 6 was quite impressive.
Yes, it was. Although I think St Greg's were playing into their hands a bit. They kept the ball tight. I thought they should have thrown it a bit wider on early tackles down there in the quarter, and I thought they may have scored in the corner.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you a bit the way they kept it up the middle. Now it's Hawker, and for one of the few times they're going to see the 6th tackle. McGovern. Rebound off St Greg's. And it'll be the handover. Just learning how to play this game of football virtually without the ball is Hawker. Against a side like St Greg's, they will just wear you right down.
It's a matter of how long can Hawker keep giving them the ball and keep that defensive line going up, back, and making tackles before it just runs out of fuel and can't go any longer. And then, of course, St Greg's will cut loose. But let's not write Hawker off. If they can get the ball back, I know they're capable of doing some nice things.
The kick down for Causa. Long striding fullback. Changes direction. Sees 2 defenders.
He has got ability, hasn't he, young Josh Causa?
Adam Harley.
Now, they're very keen to keep the ball alive, Hawker, popping it up in tackles, but they would do their cause a lot more justice if they were more positive in their speed of play the balls. Rather than try and pop the ball in a tackle, the safe way to get out of here will be to get hit in a tackle and then immediately bounce to your feet and keep the ball in play. Just got to play the ball faster.
Kicks put in by Rodney Hayes. Straight to Davin. In fact, Hickey is playing in the fullback role. Chapman.
And for those of you who remember John Chapman, that played on the wing and in the centres for St George, that is his son.
Remembering Measley, Bill, I think I played against John a number of times. Cross. They're not really linking up with their backline as yet, St Greg's. Quinn.
I do remember that game when you played against John in 1960.
Thanks. I will get a chance, Bill. I'll even. Penalty will go against Hawker. It was touched forward by a teammate and then picked up by Romo.
Yes, knocked forward by Hawker. Romo in a position to fall on the ball. He wouldn't have been aware that his teammate touched it and had no alternative but to try and pick it up. But, you know, maybe that's just what Hawker need, because whether the kick be successful or not, at least they've got a chance now for some breathing space. they might have to come up with a drop out from the quarter, or even if they concede 2 points, they've got to kick off from halfway and they're going to get some field position out of it. I don't know that that's a real bad result for them.
Chapman unsuccessful with his attempt at converting the try by Cross. Just outside the 22 and fairly adjacent. Likes to place it nice and high on the mound. That's the effect of the breeze that we talked about here at the stadium this afternoon. Chapman will come. Casual looking style, but unsuccessful. So still 2 attempts, no success yet for Chapman. 4-0 St. Greg's over Hawker. And then restart from Hawker. Bouncing well away from Cross.
Now this is where they need a good chase. They had a terrific kick there, and the first men down on chase are their front rowers. Now that's not the way it should be. Where's the winger? Where's the centre up there? They've got the most speed in the team. They should be down there to try and make that first tackle, not flopping along behind the front rowers.
Corvo again. Second time he's come up with a big hit. O'Brien right on halfway. Cross. Now they've got a big backline set. Chapman, good quick hands out for Davin. Davin out to Horan to step his way down the sideline and step well from Causa. How did he stay? Well, he didn't. He maintained his balance for most of the time. The touch judge said right at the death he put a foot in touch. Great balance from Horan.
Well, you'd have thought he was walking the tightrope here, wouldn't you? The ball came out along the back line. There was the crucial pass. Maybe or not that one might have been forward. We weren't in a good position, but he beat the first tackle. Here he started to walk the plank. He was trying to keep out of the way of falling in on the falling into the water, and the touch judge caught him.
The ball has come out for Hawker.
Very good push in that scrum by St. Greg's. Graham, when they played against Benil in the quarter-final, they won something like 5 or 6 scrums against the head, because they do give a concerted effort to their scrummaging, knowing that if they work well, they can come up with some against the feet and the head, and they did do that.
Just how much emphasis do they put on rugby league at the school, Jason?
It's very big. Training almost every afternoon, and the boys are really keen. That's the difference between St. Greg's sides and a lot of teams, just the emphasis they do put on their training.
Jason, would you say that, you know, with a coach like Peter Mulholland, who's a grade coach, that you were lucky enough to know a lot about the intricacies of rugby league before you even left school?
Oh, yes, definitely. Peter really helps the boys out. A lot of sides have only got like normal school teachers coaching their team, and St. Greg's have got a reserve grade coach in there, and it does make a big difference.
Not the complete difference at the moment, because Hawker is still hanging in there, even though they haven't been able to control possession, showing a lot of determination.
What about that train every day of the week? I'd have liked that better than doing maths or English.
Wouldn't mind have been kept in. Cross, the most dangerous of the St. Greg's players. This is the real danger area as they go inside the 22 again.
And they're short again out wide. This line's got to move up more quickly.
Davin has Hickey on his outside. Now Horan back infield beautifully. Hickey would have scored and he couldn't control the ball. All he had to do was catch it, and it was a try.
Nice interchange passing here. They recognised they had the numbers out wide. There's the initial break made, and the ball popped up on the outside. Horan got it back inside into Hickey. Hickey was about to reach out. I think there might have been a Hawker hand there that just bumped the ball loose. There's that good push again, Graham.
He did catch that football, but as Bill said, he was just trying to reach out, and then he dropped it.
And they've come up with one against the head.
Horan. His initial thought to get it out wide was the right one, but he didn't. Bell. O'Brien. 8 metres away. Is it going to be try number 2 for St Greg's? Chapman. Davin. Must be. This time he'll get the try. He missed one only a moment ago, Hickey, with the overlap out wide. And they pick up the try. They've been keeping play in and around the play the ball area, but on this occasion they read they had the numbers. It was a case of just 3 and 4 simple passes, and Hickey had no trouble in putting the arms around the football on this occasion and getting it down for try number 2 for St Greg's.
Good fundamentals, wasn't it? This try could have been stopped had the winger come in and made a tackle as soon as the player who just passed it then got the ball. He wasn't alert enough, didn't quite come up, and the ball went to Hickey, who had free space to work in.
Hickey is wearing the number 2, but he has been...
And that try from that scrum against the feed.
Yeah, and more importantly for the forwards to produce that, but Hickey is playing in the fullback role. Chapman. His tries are being scored out wide. It's a good shot of his angle from out near touch. Again, he has troubles with the breeze, forcing the ball off the mound. Some instructions coming out for Hawker, who've been forced to defend a hell of a lot.
Playing very courageously. They're doing as much as any coach could ask of any team, pinned against their own try line. But what they've got to do is get the ball down the other end. That's where it's at. Football's all about being down the other end of the field. At the moment, St Greg's dominating that aspect of the game.
That's where he wants the ball to travel between those posts. Can he bring it around? Nicely, but too much. It's the best kick that he has struck this afternoon, but still unsuccessful with all 3. It is 8-0 St Greg's over Hawker. And they've got plenty of supporters here from St Greg's. They vastly outnumber the Hawker supporters.
The Hawker boys and supporters did have a fair way to travel, didn't they? Up from Belconnen in the ACT, and St Greg's from Campbelltown and the western suburbs out of Sydney.
Good idea of the amount of breeze here too as you look at those flags.
It's probably worth us noting, Graham, that this is the first semi-final. St Greg's from Campbelltown up against Hawker from the ACT, and semi-final number 2 is St John's College from Woodlawn. This game, of course, yet to be played. They're from Lismore. And St Mary's College from Toowoomba, which is about 1.5 to 2 hours out of Brisbane. So there aren't many inner-city schools, are there, left in the Commonwealth Bank Cup?
Well, it's certainly the changing face of rugby league, even in the seniors, as the game continues to expand.
Starting to get a roll on now, St Greg's. They're making, where they were only putting dents in the Hawker defence before, they're now starting to carve pretty large holes.
Good strong tackle that from Bremer. Cross. Now this is going to land into open space. It's a well thought out kick.
Get out of there, son.
Chapman was down there very quickly, but Barley did well to get back into play. Causa. Unfortunately for Hawker, whenever they have had possession, it's been down on their own line, not down the other end.
All backs to the wall stuff.
Barley comes up with another good run.
Now they need a quick play the ball and another forward hit just to get that momentum. That's a little bit better. Now another quick play the ball and then hit again.
Romo tries to get to his feet quickly. McGovern. Out for Hutchins to drive it away from Hickey. And there is some good chasing this time. Hayes doesn't have the pace to match it, though, with Hickey. And he brought down 22 out. O'Brien.
There's no doubt that the number 7 for Hawker, that's Owen Gregory, who hurt his ankle early in this game. He's still struggling very much with that ankle. He's not the Owen Gregory that I've seen play in earlier games.
Causa trying to get across to this kick, but it's a bouncing well away, dead in goal. Hit the corner post. That'll bring it back to the 22. A chance of some relief for Hawker. Only missed out by inches. This ball will just bounce and find its way straight into the post.
Centimetre the other way, and it's the kick of a champion.
Trying to get his team started. Corbo. 40 out from their own line now, Hawker. Gregory. Still favouring that ankle a lot, as Bill said. Govern with the kick. There's a bit of pressure on him and off the side of the boot. Well, that ball must have been touched, but...
He must have been touched on the 4th tackle, I think. Of course, it had been a mistake on the last tackle by the attacking team. It would have been a handover.
Bell, Chapman, Hickey in from fullback. Ooh. And the intercept was just about there. Davin takes play well downfield against Hawker, and yet Hawker could nearly have come up with a try at the other end. Chapman. Very strong run. He and Cross have been impressive in the back line. Quinn stepping up the middle. A couple of minutes away from half-time. They just can't afford to have another try scored right now. 9 metres out. Cross. Bell cuts out Chapman for Horan, who kicks ahead into the end goal, and it goes dead. So they survive.
Well, they do like to kick to that little channel just in near the corner post, don't they? Hoping to catch you unsuspecting, get in behind your winger, and the fullback not covering across. But that kick just a little bit too heavily weighted.
And they should see it out to half-time in possession, Hawker.
Provided they don't make a handling mistake. You've got to just lock the ball up. You know, St Greg's very adept at getting in, reefing the ball out. If you don't totally protect it, if you're a one-arm carrier, you're always a chance of losing the ball against a team that's looking for it.
Showed a lot of character under pressure in this first half, Hawker.
Very much so. Been a courageous effort by Hawker. I think they've been a credit the way they've hung on.
The penalty.
Yeah, and there's an example again, Graham, of St Greg's going in, trying to rip the ball loose while you're unsuspecting.
That's the siren. Probably no other option for Hawker other than to look for touch, and they might just put up a midfield bomb. Not much of an angle, but that's a fine kick by Rod Hayes. Midfield bomb, you would think, is on its way, Bill.
Well, I'll need some variety rather than just head down, backside up and take the ball forward. That's not a bad option.
Barley stepping, gets the one-hander away for Hayes, down the touchline. He gets it back in beautifully, but Barley couldn't take it. And that will see an end of the first half action of this semi-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup. And impressive St Gregory's as they might have been, Hawker. A lot of character in defence. At the break, it's 8 points to 0. St Greg's power, says the supporters' signs here at the Parramatta Stadium as we await the start of the second half of this semi-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup, with St Gregory's leading 8 points to 0 over Hawker. But I think Bill Anderson, a lot of people might have thought that the scoreline might have even been more in their favour at this stage.
Yeah, I suppose it could have been, and we can see a replacement there for Hawker, Graham. It's the number 17, Dennis McFarlane, that's gone onto the field. But you know, their defensive line has held pretty well, and that was my fear with Hawker going into this match, that maybe their defence wouldn't hold. But the problem area for them this afternoon has been where they've excelled, and that's been their attack. And they just haven't been in good attacking positions. I think if they can play basic football, work from dummy half, play out 6 tackles, build the ball up with a bit of power and get over that advantage line, and then kick and chase. All the things that St Greg's are doing, they're not totally out of the match. But the first 10 minutes here is going to tell the story, and that's lovely backline passing by Hawker.
Well picked up there at the finish by Swift. Gavin McFarlane with his first touch. If you had the chance at half-time, Jason, what would you have said to this Hawker side?
Well, as Bill said, they've got to play the game down St Gregory's end of the field. They have got the win now. The win's turned around and it's going with Hawker at the moment, and that's what they've got to do, play the game down St Gregory's half. If they let St Greg's into their territory too much, I think St Greg's will find some holes, especially out wide.
What did you think of St Greg's performance in the first 40?
Well, they played it very safe game. They kept the ball tight. I thought they should have thrown it out a bit more on early tackles. In the end there, they started to get their back line a bit deeper, which I think they need to do, and just let it out wide when the holes are there.
Now they get a little bit of a roll on, and the half and 5/8 get together. Back inside for O'Brien. Cross. It's a good play from Cross and Bell. Cross showed it there for Horan. Very quickly they got back down to the Hawker end, 12 metres away from the try line. Horan. Bell. Chapman, who was impressive. This should be a try. Davin shows the ball. Hickey's outside. Try number 2 for Hickey. It might have been a line ball, that final pass to him. In the end, I thought Davin wasn't going to unload, but he did. And the try did come. But the final pass, I just had a bit of a query about. And as Jason was saying, this back line getting deeper and getting together well. Good ball that from Chapman for Davin, who showed it. And this is about where he should have unloaded for Hickey, and he just got it away there at the end. I'm not quite sure that replay told us anything about the pass.
There's a couple of messages in here. Number one is when your back line's coming up, it's got to come up very quickly, but you don't go for intercepts in these situations. Maybe that tackle could have been made immediately. The winger was holding back. He probably should have come in and tried to stop it ball and all as well. But looking on the positive side of it, some nice interchange passing by St Greg's. They do know how to make the most of space.
Hickey gets himself a double and is enjoying his run in the fullback position. Go to Mulholland sideline. Must be satisfied with the start to the second half.
Yeah, nothing long range about St Greg's, is there, Graham? Everything they do, every attacking foray just comes from 20 metres out.
Chapman still yet to really have an easy kick. Hitting the ball sweet enough. On this occasion, very sweet. He finally gets one over. And St Greg's stretch it to 14 points to 0 over Hawker. Let's have another look at this kick from out wide. I said he was meeting the ball pretty well. And this one sailed between the posts. A lot of power from out wide near the touchline. He's having a fine game too. He looks to have all the skills, Bill.
Yeah, very talented young footballer. He's a complete player, isn't he? There's not much he can't do in attack. He's got the kicking game, and his defence is more than solid.
Now Hawker have a change out there. Tony Dunn in 15. I think it's Owen Gregory who's been forced off, the halfback. Grind away against St Greg's, back to halfway. Bell. Boller. Cross. Stepping Chapman. Good tackle from Corvo. O'Brien, good quick hands for Quinn. And Giga. Stepping. Still stepping. Guess he might have an idol by the name of John Ferguson. Cross. Kicking for Causa.
Who hasn't done a lot wrong. He's been confronted with a lot of problems, but everything he's had to do, he's handled with competence. And there's John Steele, the coach of Hawker, just trying to get one last effort from his charges to maybe get them back in touch.
Gavin took a solid hit from Bushell. McFarlane. I'd like to see a passage of play where they did have possession inside St Greg's 22.
They won't get it like that.
Ball's put down by Hayes. And a fundamental mistake will see the scrum go down midfield. Bell. done. Cross. Ball went straight past. One man for Watts. Bell. Chapman again. Chapman puts his foot down and grabs a try himself. They just plowed ahead through the forwards, then a change of play. They went down the left on a blind. And up came the try for Chapman. This is well deserved too. They decided to change play. Chapman was nice and deep, and he really did come onto the ball. Gap, nice step off the left foot, and he plowed over.
St Greg's don't try to attack from anywhere unless they get within striking distance of that try line, and that's what they did here. A nice switch back down the blind side, very well read. Chapman, the centre, had faded back from the open side, created the extra man down the short side, and there's the result of it.
So Damien Chapman will try and convert his own try. Not a real good afternoon for goal kickers with a lot of breeze around. And again, he's only about 8 or 9 metres in from touch. Well, he did. It was successful just a few moments ago from about this position. Supporters out there started to tell the story of it. That's a fine kick from Chapman. Look at the lead now in this semi-final. St Greg's 20, Hawker 0. A great school and a great football tradition that has come from St Greg's. They're headed for another cup final, Bill.
They certainly are, and they've gone about it very methodically. You know, it's a performance where they're racking up points, and yet you can't remember them doing a lot with the ball. It's not as if they're, you know, they're try after try after try and they're memorable tries. It's just that they do everything right. They belt away from dummy half. They hit the ball up on the advantage line. They don't miss tackles. They kick and chase well. And when they get in attacking position, I suppose the word to describe them is they do some very neat things and make the most of chances as they arise. They're a well-drilled football team. They're a credit to their coach, Peter Mulholland, who has obviously put a lot of work into them.
Bushell away for cross to kick away from Causa. They get a good roll on here into the end goal.
And he'll look up and see about 4 or 5 blue jumpers in front of him.
And he kept his cool, and he did well there to get about 6 metres out from his own line. A number of times Hawker have found themselves in this position. They have made a mistake and dropped the ball. They took a bit of a risk there with that ball being floated out to Mark Swift. Harley.
Yeah, when you're trying to work the ball out of your quarter, what you should try and do is have one powerful run through a front row or a second row hitting the advantage line, and then probably a little back sneak into dummy half and try and skip out of there. And there's that mistake again by St Greg's. You know, their defensive line is so strong, keeps putting pressure on. It almost twists your arm up your back and forces you to make an error.
Good stepping from Quinn. That's a powerful run. Just a couple metres away from that try line. A mile of players left over here. Davin out for Hickey. This is the hat-trick. He stepped, changed direction. The cover defence was trying to get across as quick as possible, but he completes a hat-trick. He's having a lot of fun out there this afternoon, joining into this back line, and they just sucked all the defence in. And the defence had been sucked in by that fine run from Quinn. And look at the numbers over here. Very short in the back line, and they were just shuffling across. Instead of coming in quickly to try and cut it off, they were watching the movement of the ball, and Hickey made them pay.
3 tries in 9 minutes. That's the story of the second half for St Greg's, and don't they execute fundamentals well? They had numbers there in the back line. Nice deep chain passing. Hickey had the ball. He had space. He had time. Stepped off the left foot and made the most of it.
Well, he's just ducking in behind there somewhere, Craig Hickey. Now he comes up to say hello. And Hawker heads down. But they shouldn't be that disappointed because really they've played the semi-final without the ball.
And they are playing the hot shots.
I really can't remember a time when they've been in possession inside St Greg's 22.
No, I can't think back to an instance where I thought they were about to put something on. There was one occasion, but that was on about halfway, and it was a long-range threat, but nothing near the try line.
Chapman trying to add to his tally. And he does. A much better success in the second half with his kicking. 26-0 now, St Greg's over Hawker. Smile from Peter Mulholland. And all the supporters here enjoying this semi-final performance by St Greg's. As is one of their former students sideline. Jason, who's impressed you most in this St Greg side?
I thought the halfbacks had a good game, came across. The centre has had a good game in the second half.
Chapman.
Goal kicker Chapman, yes. Forwards, Quinn, that was a very good run from Quinn to set up that try. Just basic stuff. He hit it up hard on one side of the field and they swung it out to a deep back line.
I think you picked it in one there. Here he is again working now, Quinn. Always looking to either hit the ball up or work hard in defence.
And you can see what they're starting to do now, St Greg's. They realise they've got this game in hand and they're working on some things in the back line. That was the first really long shot they've taken. They had a back line spread from about 30 metres out from their own line and had basically their whole team on the one side of the field. So what they did was work to halfway across and then have a big back line spread with everyone in and just try to outmatch you for numbers.
Lewis played it back. Bremer. A rare touch of the ball for him. McFarlane. Govan. Time for Hawker to really cut loose with the ball if they're going to try anything at all. Last tackle. Got to show some variety here. Maybe not a kick, maybe to run it. Well, that chip was never really on.
Got it back.
I thought there might have been a little bit of a knock-on too there from Adam Harley, but the referee has missed that one.
No, I didn't see it.
I'd like to see a lot more chances for this man who's in the front row too, Corvo, who's come up with some big hits. Centres haven't had too many chances. McGovern's going to try a long ball out for Bremer. He gets a good ball away too. Last tackle. Bremer stays on a short blind, got a great pass back infield with support and kept alive beautifully for Hayes. Good football there on that short blind. They nearly produced a try.
Yeah, got a touch judge in, Graham. Obviously an incident over on that side of the field, probably by the Hawker side, because he waited until St Greg's had just got the ball and then he pulled one of the players out.
I don't know if this is going to come from this passage of play or not, but that was Bremer down the side. A great pass, and Barley too continued this on well for Hayes, who was trying to step past Hickey. That was the last tackle from the fullback, and the try line just in view.
Well, it obviously wasn't severe enough to incur any penalty because the handovers occurred, and now St Greg's are going to try and work the ball out some 5 metres out from their line, and that's a strong tackle.
That's that man I was talking about, Corvo. I'd like to see him with a lot more opportunities because he shows some ability.
His brother Mark plays with the Raiders. I think he's played a bit of first grade, and you know, he's a good player, and his young brother can handle it as well.
Chapman. Just getting a replacement on the sidelines, St Greg's.
19, Gary McDonald.
One of the first times they've really had to handle a bit of pressure inside their own quarter. Off the side of the boot of Cross. And that will come all the way back. And for a handover, as I said, this was before we were talking about not too many chances down the other end. Well, now they get another chance to show their wares. McGovern. Hayes. Taken by Bell. Bremer. Strongly built both centres from Hawker.
Well, I think Bremer's a good player in particular from Hawker. He's got good defensive skills, but he's also good with the ball. He can run and he can pass.
Well, that was good play from Causa.
I'd like to see him
also
score.
Barley.
They've earned a try.
Now, trying to get across from dummy half, but to no avail. Hayes stepped well to get him behind the defence and stepped again. The defence moved up too quick, and he was very quick on his feet himself. Good try to Hayes. Excellent try. You watch the defence come up to try to get to his outside very quickly. They forced him back infield. He showed it once, stepped beautifully, and will step again to get across. He left Hickey grasping at thin air.
Nice footwork, because he shows here that he can go off both feet. There's the step off the left foot, and there's the step off the right foot. Nice play.
With few opportunities, they get on the board at last. And Hayes will try and convert his own try. And then they have been outnumbered. They've travelled a long way, but they've seen their side get on the board in this semi-final and show a lot of character throughout. Effort. He got the try, now he gets the goal. St Greg's 26, Hawker 6. St Greg's have made that change with Gary McDonald in 19. He's out there in this semi-final. He'll have about 10 or 12 minutes. Chapman sends it down to Corbo. Big, strong man and pretty mobile. McFarlane. I almost hate to say it, but this is the area where they normally cop up the ball.
You see, that's sort
like
of looking to unload is not necessary at that end of the field, and they've been caught for offside after they dropped the ball. All that was required was to hit the line quickly and then bounce to your feet and play the ball and keep play going that way. But to try and keep it going by popping up passes is the difficult and the dangerous way to go about the task.
Chapman, who has had a number of attempts in this semi-final.
And there's another Ivan Henjak, and then followed up by Jason Taylor.
About 12 metres in from touch. He certainly has had it on a string in the second half. Another good goal for Damien Chapman to stretch it now to 28-6 in Greg's over Hawker. He's back to halfway. And as we were talking about that, Jason, there probably is a few headed for grade territory after this season with this St Greg side.
Yes, certainly a few players here who could go straight into grade.
Jason, how hard was the step up for, let's say, yourself, where you came out of Commonwealth Bank Cup in 1989, the Player of the Year, St Greg's win the Commonwealth Bank Cup, and you jump almost immediately into first grade? How tough was that?
Well, it was hard, but it wasn't as hard as maybe I may have expected. In the West Side, I was helped out by a lot of the players. They really gave me a big helping, and that made a big difference. And also to have Peter Mulholland at West, he was my coach at school, so he sort of guided me along a bit.
But you think boys who excel at this level at Commonwealth Bank Cup aren't far off great football?
Oh, certainly. Games like this, you know, Commonwealth Bank Cup semi-final, there's very good players out here. This is a good standard of football.
Both sides have shown it in this semi-final. A lot of determination from Hawker. Very few opportunities with the ball. Very, very close call.
There's the pass, a well-timed pass by Chapman. There's the tackle made by the fullback, and you know, whether he was in the air or falling, it was one of those line ball ones.
I thought it was a try.
Well, there's a scrum against the head.
Probably add to it right away. Ricketts is out there, 15. And again, they have numbers left over here. Hickey. Out it goes, and they do get the try just a moment later. Then Giga out on the wing. Once more, this back line got deep, and it was good passing. They knew they had the numbers, and Hawker was struggling. Again, that back line standing.
Yeah, coming up far too slowly, Graham. You've got to attack them with your defence. That back line from Hawker just stood and waited and gave them time and space to work with, instead of moving up as one unit and all making their tackles, you know, one after the other.
Great experience for them. Chapman from right out on the sideline. First miss for him in the second half. Big scoreline now in this semi-final, 32 points to 6 in Greg's. We go inside the last 5 minutes. For all these supporters looking into the sun. Time maybe for another try. Boller. Good second row combination, he and Quinn. Cross. The defensive moved up too quickly on the outside. Left a hole for him and a good run. They're a tired side now, Hawker. Greg's trying to put them away.
Yeah, they've just been run ragged, Hawker. They contributed by making a lot of mistakes. I thought their defence was courageous, but it just couldn't hang on any longer against a team that almost fails to make mistakes.
Horan. Lost the ball, said the referee. Scrum will go down right on the 22. Cause of a feed. Right on the 22. Romo was brought down. Harley. Bremer. Gets it back for Barley. Well, that's been the case throughout this match, where they've just had to force the pass. About 2 minutes of play remaining. Corbo again tries to line up a man.
He has not stopped, has he? You know, he's been hard in defence. He's been very committed. He's taken the ball up when he's been required. He's probably been just about the pick of the Hawker boys.
They go through the backs. Horan. Hickey. Didn't quite know where the ball was. Barley. McGovern. Corbo hits it up and tries to get a ball back. It was touched. 6 more tackles. Stepping his way through was Chris Barnes. McGovern. Harley was trying to get the ball for Swift. It gets there now.
Now just have a look at the speed of this play of the ball. Slow, slow, and St Greg's defensive line absolutely and totally set and ready.
Romo only needed that kick to be a little heavier. It would have landed into open space for him.
Yeah, there is a little bit of space at the back there for a chip. They've tried it on a couple of occasions and nearly come back with St Greg's playing their half-back up in the line rather than back in cover.
Maybe there'll be some interesting teams looking on in this match, Bill, with the...
Well, I'm sure the winner of the second semi-final will be.
Corvo. This time it doesn't work out for him. Bounced off when he tried to hit Kearney. Chapman, good quick hands. Hickey and Giga down the touchline. Did well to stay in field. That's all there is in this first semi-final of the Commonwealth Bank Cup of 1990. A big win to St Greg's. They travel to another cup final. A great performance from them, 32-6 over a Hawker side who really did run out of steam in this second half. Another big win for Peter Mulholland, chatting there with Ivan Henjak. And St Greg's will be hard to stop in the Commonwealth Bank Cup of 1990. Some fine players in this match. Some excellent performances. Let's take a look at our points this afternoon. 1 point to Quinn in the Adidas Player of the Series. 2 points to Cross. And 3 points as our player of the match, Damien Chapman. Very impressive performance from him all round, both kicking and in open play. They go over to thank their supporters for their school. They know they're into another cup final. Next week will be the second semi-final from Seagull Stadium. St Mary's College Toowoomba going up against St John's of Woodlawn. Our thanks to Jason Taylor this afternoon and Bill Anderson. I'm Graham Hughes. We'll see you next week.